Ladies and gentlemen, Nev from Nev's Tech Bits. Let's talk about Bitcoin investing the future, why it's going to be good. I don't care how you feel about it. Do you think the stock market cares how you feel about it? Now, here's why it's going to do good. In my opinion, everything's going digital. The place where I used to go to hang out, I can't go there anymore because too many normal people have gotten onto it. It's a known thing on the internet. The normies get onto it. So back in '08, I was there and I watched as Bitcoin became a thing. I mined some of the first Bitcoins. Well, at least maybe the first 100. Anyways, as time goes on, more and more people start accepting it because more and more people start accepting the internet as reality, which is a problem in and of itself. It used to be a place where individuals could go to get freaky. Now, when I say freaky, that's a lot different from the normal individual's definition of freaky. I had no idea what was going on in Yahoo chat back in the day, though I was there. I was on the anime forums. Some interesting things happen in there, but nowhere near as crazy as what happened to the other parts. Now, what I'm trying to get at here is I'm an individual. There's not too many like me, and we are the biggest form of minority. You know, in any group, you get your one off. That's just like out there, he's into his own thing, she's into her own thing. Sometimes people don't like them just because they have these particular ideas or questions, regardless of what race they come from. I should say nationality or skin color. Bitcoin is becoming real. Ethereum's becoming more real. Now, I can't say that it's going to go to the moon in Lambo, but it's definitely going to go up. Like, look at the way it's been going. I can't see. Now, we've got a lot of crap coin, but when we talk about crypto, I'm talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the gold standard. We have many securities, we have many reserves, we have many physical items that can be traded in for money. But Bitcoin is the gold standard. Now, they say the gold standard because, well, what is a dollar worth? Who's to say what the dollar's worth? Nobody knows these days. I have a vague idea that, okay, apparently it's like pegged to a bunch of the things in the stock market, like the NASDAQ or something like that. But it used to be pinned to gold, and gold was worth. If you had a dollar bill, you could go in and that'd be worth $1. Like, nobody could argue with that. And then any nation would only have so much money, and that money would reference the and then that money would reference the gold that the place had in stock. That's why Fort Knox was a thing. There's actually a time in America you weren't even allowed to have gold because they were taking all the gold into Fort Knox. And then I'm pretty sure shortly after that they moved off of the gold standard onto something else. Now, the something else that they moved on to was ultimately from this theory that a bank didn't need to actually have the money in order to send the loans out because they found out, oh God, please don't let this be during the 30 Years' War where the inbred Habsburgs were just fighting each other. Oh no. Anyways, don't worry about the shitcoin. There's only maybe two good coins now, but I'm going to say three. I've always said there's three of them, but the top two are always going to be Bitcoin and Ethereum. The reason why Bitcoin is there because it was number one. It was number one. It's going to be the gold standard. Ethereum is number two because you can do way more things with it, like make smart contracts and change it. You can change how it works a little bit. You can only do so much to change Bitcoin. Then if you change it, it's no longer Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin Cash. It's Bitcoin this, that, or the other thing. They've made ways so that you could advance Bitcoin with Bitcoin. I think it's called Lightning, where any transaction that's happened before, if you want to move money that way, you can basically move it by somehow saying, yeah, I'll move it here and here, and then it works that way. But Ethereum is really special because you can add things on like smart contracts, which is basically like the idea you go up to a pop dispenser and you put in $2 and you get your so that's a smart contract. You put your money in and you get your thing out. That's what non-fungible tokens are. Non-fungible tokens are usually on the Ethereum network. If they aren't on the Ethereum network, they aren't worth anything. Stay away from non-fungible tokens. The issue with non-fungible tokens is that they're images, but most of these images, when it comes to the actual guts, meat and potato of the cryptocurrency, it normally only comes out to being ones and zeros. It's all ones and zeros, but only a link. And after enough time goes on, the links are going to be dead because while the address will still be on the Bitcoin blockchain, the Ethereum, Oh, wait, is it on Bitcoin? I think it is. I think you can do it on Bitcoin too. Okay, forget I said that. But I know you can do it on Ethereum, where you can literally put pictures on Ethereum. But like to put a picture, an image is phenomenally expensive. So most of these NFTs are just links. Geez, I'm wondering now. Are real NFTs that are actually on Core? Are the real NFTs that are actually on Core going to be like? Are we going to get more and more of them because it's going to be easier to do the calculations to put them on there? I wonder, or will it be though? Because our CPUs, all of our units are getting bigger because we can no longer build CPUs smaller. We just make them bigger and to do what they do. We used to make them smaller and smaller, but they got so small that we couldn't accurately predict electricity at that size. We can't predict electricity at that size because it starts to work in we're getting into quantum mathematics, so almost so it's like, is this electricity at that level going through other dimensions? Because if you want to get into other dimensions, quantum computers absolutely exist that do calculations in other dimensions. And if you get into dimension 1 through 11, geez, even any dimension higher in that. So time is dimension 4. We're in a three-dimensional world. Time is the fourth dimension. And other realities, quite like our realities, are in the fifth dimension. Sorry, let's not get too far into that, but it's interesting to think that electricity that small might actually be fluxing through fifth dimensions, fifth and higher. And it gets really interesting because sometimes the bigger dimensions might actually be in a speck of dust on the tip of your finger type thing. And that's a higher dimension where bigger gods exist. Believe it or not, Star Wars actually, George Lucas wanted to go that way and eventually say that everything that was happening was just on a fleck of dust, I think, ultimately. And that would make perfect sense. I mean, with the Force, there's always a bigger fish, right? Anyways, I'm to understand that if you want to invest properly, what you're supposed to do is always be buying. And that just means don't, sometimes you go out and you're a glutton and you get all of the new thing you're into, and then you don't even go through anything. No, just every time you get a pay stub, get a little bit. Get a little bit of Bitcoin. Get a little bit of Ethereum. Get enough Ethereum so that you can start staking it. What staking it means is once you have so much of it, instead of proof of work, instead of mining, the new crypto will go to people who already have X amount of crypto. And there's kind of like I shouldn't go for rolling dice game, right? About who gets that crypto. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. Not from NesTech, but I think that you should get into it, but just little bits at a time. Thanks so much. Have a good one, folks. Take care of each other.